Okay.
Hello.
Let's go. Okay, man. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I guess what we're going to talk about is the state of the ecosystem that we find ourselves in. I'd like to get your thoughts on the ecosystem. I'd like to get your thoughts on what you've been involved in over the last 3 years or so. And I'd like to get your thoughts on where you think that this is going over the next 3 years. So to start off, I know you as Gerard,
No way.
but a lot of people know you as Captain Salami.
A lot of people, you think
A
so?
lot of people. Are there any other aliases that we should be aware of?
No, I think that Captain Salami defines me pretty well, you know. It's,
Okay.
It's something that I think people remember easily.
That's true.
And it comes from a TV show here in Spain. It's a funny character that I like. And, you know, just had to choose something at one point. But then I realized that maybe it's hard to do more serious stuff, you know?
It is very difficult to roll up to any kind of panel at any kind of a ordinal or digital art conference
true.
as Captain Salami, in my eyes.
But it's a cool name, come on.
Okay. Well, it's coolish. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, I remember, I think that it was when we met with Erin, and she had to introduce me to one of her friends or associates. I don't remember exactly who that was, and she was like, yeah, so this is Gerard. And the guy was like, yeah, okay, well. I was like, but Captain Salami is like, Captain Salami, okay.
So the penny dropped for him who you were once he heard your proper name.
Exactly.
Okay, very good.
So, well, you're called TheScotchFox, so you know that in order to people to remember you, it's easier if you have a funny name or something that you'll remember easily.
Yep.
I'm very bad with names, so I
It does
prefer
help.
that too.
It does help. It's funny that even when we're all hanging out together, I'm just Scotch. That's who I am. I'm Scotch.
Yeah, exactly. You're Scotch.
You know, real names be damned. Let's just go with whatever it is that we have chosen to frontline ourselves on Twitter, and it's good. Okay, so now what am I doing here in sunny Valencia when I really could be enjoying the fog and the cold and the sub-zero temperatures of
So
Edinburgh?
cool.
Like, what am I doing here?
Well, you know, we did something very special in Rome. You were invited, called the Vivid Retreat, and we always wanted to do something similar. But the thing is, it takes a lot of time, effort, and from people to come to join such a place. And I always wanted to reproduce something like that, but it was hard. You need to find a good moment. Last time it was easy because full bull market, people want to join this event. So I can take advantage of people already coming to the event to organize something. But right now there is not many things going on. But we still can meet somewhere in a nice place and just share our work, our ideas, our vision, what are we planning for the future. And yeah, that's how it started. But now it's funny because a lot more people want to come and say, oh, it seems nice what you're doing in south of Spain, let's go. But yeah, I'm happy that you're here shooting some content. I think that right now I feel like I want to take advantage of this opportunity or this moment where not much is happening on the timeline, but still people are looking for what matters in this ecosystem to actually do a retrospective about everything that we have done in these last 3 years.
Right.
What was Vivid about? Maybe tell about things that people may not know because we didn't have the opportunity to tell that before. And also at the same time, trying to project ourselves. Because 3 years seems like a lot of time, but actually it's not that much. But trying to imagine what's going to happen in the next 3 years, it's very hard. So it gives some, some contrast to the situation. Okay, guys, this is what happened in the 3 years. Imagine what can happen in the next 3 years.
Absolutely.
That's what I want to talk about.
So give us a little snapshot from your perspective of the last 3 years, how Vivid started, the ecosystem in general, and I guess not just releasing projects, not just finding the best artists, but really kind of honing in on digital art and perhaps its shift to a more permanent layer on Bitcoin. Like, how do you see this golden age of digital art on Bitcoin?
Well, so for the little story, we were doing services. We were offering services back then on Ethereum in 2020, 2021 to projects with Pierrot and Flo. And we worked with many projects, many NFT projects, and they just stopped paying their piñata subscription, and the NFTs disappear. We started working with some artists too. It was also the beginnings of fully on-chain art on ETH, so that really hit us, and we really enjoyed working with artists. It was a cool experience because at that time it was hard to find a purpose. Okay, what can we use the blockchain for? And art was pretty obvious. So that's where we really saw the best projects that we were working with, the most interesting ones, the ones that make more sense were the art projects. And when this thing started on Bitcoin, to be honest, at first, when we first heard about ordinals, we were like, it was the period of the meme coins and all that stuff. And we were like, just people maybe, releasing meme coins on Bitcoin. That was maybe the first days. But then we dig a little bit more into that, and then came Harto with his collection with Sat, saying, oh yeah, I've done this with another guy. And I see that there is an opportunity to release more art collections, and we're like, well, we are already doing that with other artists on ETH. There is some interest apparently on ordinals. Let's just start doing that on ordinals. And what really attracted us was the fully on-chain stuff, because first you are on Bitcoin, so you can benefit from the Bitcoin branding. Like, it's not that we are maximalistic, but we weren't the guys, having 10 different wallets on every blockchain. Like, I'm not a Solana guy. I had a Solana wallet for once, but it was just too much. What we really cared about was going a little bit all in into an ecosystem and trying to learn as much of it as we can. So that's what happened on Bitcoin. We're like, okay, well, at least Bitcoin, we are pretty sure that's something that is going to stay. We're not taking any risk building something solid here. Let's go, let's build a gallery. So yeah, that was it.
So you were confident very early on that Bitcoin could be almost a perfect canvas for digital art? Or
yes.
was that something that built as you continued to expand?
No, it's something that evolved, because at the beginning we were only about generative art. We're like, oh yeah, this is perfect for generative art and actually sucks for some other kind of art. But then slowly finding some other solutions, trying to optimize it, and it makes sense for premium art. It doesn't necessarily need to be generative art.
Okay.
But no, at the beginning, what really attracted us the most was just the Bitcoin branding. It was like, okay, if something needs to work in Web3, it's going to be Bitcoin, if only one thing works. And I think that's pretty obvious to everyone. And at that time, to be honest, we were quite pessimistic about all the other blockchains. And the reality, at least still today, is that there are some cool stuff, not blockchains, but apart from DeFi and on Ethereum and okay, what's the other innovation? Meme coins on Solana. Wow, okay, it's cool, it's funny. I have nothing against meme coins, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to play video games during all my day. I also want to do some other stuff. So that's a little bit how it felt. So as we were pessimistic about the other blockchains, we were a little bit disappointed. We're like, that's not a place where we can build something solid. It just seems like you go there, you take advantage of a momentum, and then you leave. That was really the ambience at that time. So we're like, okay, if we want to build something solid and something long-term and something different, that's going to be on Bitcoin.
Do you still feel the same way?
I completely feel the same way, yeah. It also, the ecosystem disappointed me a little bit too, to be honest. I feel like people reproduce the same mistakes or at least the same pattern. And yeah, that's something that I don't like about this space. Like a lot of people are super confident and proud of all the Web3 culture. I also like a lot of Web3 culture. Nice. But at the same time, I don't recognize myself in a lot of it. It just feels like a lot of people are hiding behind the Web3 culture to de-responsibilize themselves and to not take seriously maybe what we are doing here. At least like on our ecosystem, on the public one, because after there is another ecosystem of people building great tech, but they are not the ones that we mostly talk about.
It's true.
You know, that's the thing. And so in that regard, I'm not really a Web3 guy. Like I'm not about being a DJ. And like I've been that for a week, for 2 weeks. From time to time, I like it, but I don't know. It's just something that exhausts me. Like that's, you know what I mean. So
I think it can be quite exhausting. I think that people
move
often
on.
get trapped in that casino kind of a
exactly.
cycle, and that burns people out.
And I understand, because I think it burns talent, because when you have someone taking it seriously and putting a lot of effort and work into a project, you also want people to acknowledge that, to recognize and then to value that.
Yeah.
And it just feels like sometimes in the ecosystem that's not what's most valued, and it's okay from time to time, but how do you keep the motivation if you see that most of the people is not what they want?
So what is it that you think that people want right now?
To be honest, the big majority is just gambling. It's another casino.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like I don't want to hide from that. That's what I think. But I don't do this for this kind of people. When we are building Vivid, we are not building it for Degens. I think it's pretty obvious. But it's just that all of this is mixed.
Yeah.
All of these people are in the same ecosystem. And sometimes you have some bridges between them too.
And it's quite a small ecosystem at the moment.
Exactly. So if you take a niche within a micro ecosystem, you just hang out with two guys. Like, well, maybe that's not going to be enough to build something.
But they're pretty cool, two guys. I mean, yeah, I got to say.
For sure.
Okay, so I mean, that's how you approached it from the beginning. You didn't want to just fall into the same traps that you saw on Ethereum, Solana, and so forth. You wanted to build something more unique, something more niche, I would say, by building a true art platform.
Yeah.
And
well, just imagine our condition at that time, like Pierre and I getting out of the engineering school, all of our pals from the university are like, oh yeah, I'm saving the world, I'm doing that, I'm doing crazy things with the big companies, and we're like, is this really what we want to do? Just build NFT collections without a purpose, without any project behind it, just helping that? No, let's try to make something serious, something that we can first be proud of, and we can also share with people, and that they actually understand and see some value. Because the reality is that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I cannot talk about this with many people. And what do you expect? Like, you go to OpenSea Magic Eden, and the main things that you see, it's hard to understand for someone. And of course there is value in community, PFP's collection, etc. But when that's most of it, it's hard to explain. Oh yeah, look, this is an ape collection, and and that's the future.
I agree.
It's hard. So that's what we wanted to change, and trying to say, okay, there is something that already exists, which is the gallery model. We don't know why, but in Web3 there is a lot of art, but no galleries. There are marketplaces, there are launch pads, and there are independent artists, but not really Web3 fully digital galleries. And that's where I saw the model. Actually, I I read this book. I need to find the author, but it's like it's talking about the future of the art gallery model, and he was talking about the digitalization of it. And that really hit me because it was like, okay, well, if you do a fully digital art gallery, you are avoiding the three main costs, which are transportation, rent, and insurance of the artworks. I was like, wow, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we can put all that budget into do more marketing to get global visibility. That was the idea since the beginning. And then you confront yourself with an ecosystem that's not used to that.
Right.
Where it's more used to, oh yeah, well, let's go, this is the next pump and dump. And this has been something that happened all the time.
Yeah.
Being confronted to the ecosystem and to different needs, like to try to find a compromise between what we would like to do, what we think the ecosystem needs, what people want, what people need, what people expect. It was always hard, and I don't know, I think we try to find the best way of doing that, collaborating with other PFP communities. But at one point, after collaborating with many for whitelist, etc., I was like, what's the point? Like, why am I going to give access to collect something that we put a lot of effort into, that the artists put a lot of effort into, to a community that really don't even know what Vivid is, that don't even know what Art on Bitcoin is, what we want to create with this. It's just like it was a cognitive dissonance for us.
And so they don't appreciate everything that's gone into it, and they're still seeing it as something that they can buy today, sell tomorrow, make a few $100s and move on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, but at the same time, there are some people that really value that. And that has always been a problem. How do you communicate? How do you attract the attention when the engagement comes to the funny things, to the pump and dump things, to the gambling? But at the same time, so getting the attention with these techniques or with these mechanisms, but at the same time, trying to transmit a serious image of, oh yeah, guys, we are doing this also for real collectors, real artists. And yeah, well, I think that at the beginning, of course, it was more of kind of the Degen thing, doing a lot of collaborations. But maybe since, I don't know, mitosis or something like that, we decided like, let's stop collaborating with all these communities. Like I had the data, I just was saying from the 10 people that minted, 10 of them listed right after minting. So that's where it hit us.
It's tough.
Yeah, it was tough, but
I guess from those experiences you learn, and you try to re-engineer how you do things differently for the next drop.
Yeah.
But
lower supply.
Right. That's one way, I guess, that you can really try to sell the best pieces to the best communities. Obviously, the best community is within Vivid itself. And I think that that's from the very inception of Vivid, that's something that you've tried to cultivate, is continuing to reward the people within the Vivid community who really do value what you're building, who do hold the pieces from the previous collections, because you see that they're buying and they're holding because they love the art. They love what you've already created. So the likelihood that they're going to respect the effort that's gone into the next collection is already very high.
Yeah.
When we go into the various Vivid collections that have already come out of the gallery, a lot of people probably recognize Sats by Haruto as the first collection, but it wasn't actually the first collection that was curated by the gallery,
Vivid didn't exist, yeah.
Yeah, so from what I know about the Sats collection, that was more of a rescue mission, wasn't it? So would you like to tell us a little bit about that? And because I find that very interesting.
Yeah, it's a crazy story, to be honest. So as I said, at the really beginning of Ordinals, so at that time, we were looking at Ordinals from really far away. We're like, well, let's see what's happening in here. And but we were already working with Harto. We were handling all the technical part from POL, the fully unchained ETH collection, and yeah, I remember Harto calling me. He's like, yeah, I did this, I don't know how you call it, but a commission to this guy that said that was going to make a whole project around it, but now he scammed everyone, and I'm the only one who's continue being here and public, and it's affecting my reputation. And we're like, oh, we cannot let that happen because it's not your fault. You did the art, and you didn't take any responsibility about that project. No worries. Let's do something. And as I said, we had the idea of creating the gallery, so we're like, okay, let's put all of things together. You already have a collection that you want to rescue somehow. Let's just say that this is a Genesis collection and it's going to give benefits within the gallery. That way the community is happy. The gallery has already a small base of collectors that have shown interest. Of course, a lot of them weren't there for the right reasons at that time, but some of them were, and some of you guys are still here. So yeah, it was a rescue mission, but I think that the community at the end they were super happy. Like they received a lot more that they could have expected. But for us, it was a win-win. Like you have people that bought something and that were scammed. That they're going to be grateful if you use it for something, and I think that for Harto also it was a big opportunity because suddenly we had something to build around his Genesis collection, and all stats are quite valuable even today, and I guess that it's also because of everything that has been done around it, everything that we have done with Vivid.
Right. So after Harto, the first curated collection by the gallery was Rising Echoes.
Exactly. Yeah.
By Medusa.
Yeah.
What was it about Medusa that stood out to you? Why did you choose him to be? Because I'm sure that there were many choices. There were probably lots of artists that you could have worked with at the time.
Not really.
Not really?
Yeah, not
no?
really.
Okay.
Not really. To be honest, at that moment, there was a lot of people flooding ordinals.
Okay.
A lot of people talking about the inscription costs. It's like, oh no, it's so expensive to inscribe art on Bitcoin. What the fuck are you talking about? Stay here, save our bags.
Right.
That was basically the movement. But yeah, we found this guy that was doing cool stuff on FX Hash, and he was Spanish, so it was a lot easier to communicate with. And he had a great collection. Rising Echoes was amazing. And he wasn't afraid of trying this on Bitcoin. Maybe also because Medusa is not the typical Web3 artist. He's just like me. He's not someone that's so into the Web3 stuff, being degen, being in the trenches, trying to get every airdrop that you can. That wasn't his thing. He's an artist and he just know the blockchain somehow, and he decided to release some stuff there.
What is art, though?
What is art?
Let's talk about art for a second. How does the idea of art change between physical art and digital art?
For me, just the natural path of things. Everything is digitalized, and I always like to use this comparison. Where I remember being a child and going to these rent-a-movie stores. Could rent a movie, could rent a series there, and I don't know them. How many years since we've seen one, and now you have Netflix, now you have everything, and it just happened to everything. So
the great decline of Blockbuster, everybody knows about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so it just means that everything is going to be digitalized, and actually almost everything is already digitalized. And the art gallery is one of the last things that's not digitalized. But when I look at the physical art gallery, come on, how can you guys survive in the long run? Do you believe that just by having access to just the city you're in, and the small group of collectors that can give you, that's just not possible. You're going to be eaten by projects like Vivid. I don't want to say like Vivid because we're still super small, but all the people trying to create digital art galleries, maybe not on blockchain, we don't know, but at least digitalizing the model, removing all these costs that are not necessary anymore and using new technology to create something more efficient. That's all.
Well, not just more efficient, but also more permanent, right? Because if we think about digital art, how much of digital art has already disappeared because of perhaps the changing mediums, medium failures, hard drive failures, and so forth? When we think about, my my ancient history, growing up with floppy disks, and hard disks, and there are all these different, then it becomes CDs and so forth.
Yeah.
How much of the art has been lost that has been created up until now? How does Bitcoin solve that?
Yeah.
That's a question for you.
It's a big question. The thing is, the easy answer is just about the technology. It's amazing, and decentralization. Parent-child solves the problem. It's immutable. It's as basic as that. But the reality is that it's not that easy, because even if we all agree on that and it's obvious, it's still not something that's commonly used or where everybody agrees on yet. Some of them still think, yeah, we're early, and it's true. But I don't know if we're gonna have the adoption that everyone thinks of. Maybe because it's a tool that's too powerful and that gives too much freedom to to us.
Freedom to transact,
Freedom
to express your voice.
Exactly, it gives too much freedom.
Okay.
I think
That's
it gives too
interesting.
much freedom. So, and the thing is, when you look at history, usually the new technologies are used to enslave a little bit more the population, and maybe that's what's going to happen. Using blockchain technology to create a CBDC and control transactions, limit the amount of stuff that you can pay. So maybe that's where Bitcoin has its strength. Okay, Bitcoin is the one thing that we want to save. Bitcoin is the one thing that gives us freedom. So it's going to make every time more sense to preserve valuable information, culture, art. Then that's where I see it, I hope, because it just doesn't seem that it's going to come by adoption. It just doesn't seem that, oh yeah, a lot of people are going to start realize and like collecting art on Bitcoin just because it's cool, and because no, it needs to come from a real need of, oh man, we are censored everywhere. They are limiting our freedom. So this is the resistance. That's the way I see it. But the technology is there. It's obvious and it works, and that's what we need. But how is that? All these people don't know about it yet. Like, why? When you compare it to AI, like all of these guys use ChatGPT once already. All these people, they know about it. But how is that they have a different opinion about Bitcoin? Is it because the technology is not that good? I don't think so. Technology is crazy, it's amazing. But it's something that gives too much freedom to people.
So do you think that the awareness will be perhaps somewhat less because of once people know about how powerful it is, they will use it in ways that governments, nation states, corporations perhaps wouldn't want them to use? So what if there was a WikiLeaks on Bitcoin?
Well, I don't know. That's the thing. I think it's going to come from a negative situation. And actually you can already see that. Like who uses Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to move some flows? Well, I have a Syrian friend. And he's like, oh yeah, well, to take out the money from the country during the war, that was a good option. To fight inflation in Argentina, that was a good option. To transfer money to my family in Russia, that was a good option. So it always came from, a limitation of your freedom, and say, yeah, actually that technology can be used to that, so let's go. So maybe the catalyst for art on Bitcoin is going to be, there is this huge art movement that's telling some truth or one opinion or whatever, but they are censored, they are blocked, They're coming for you if they know who you are, but you also have Bitcoin where you can share that and they cannot do anything. It'd be funny if that happens, that it'd be sad, but it would also be very powerful. Because then suddenly someone has a common enemy and a common mission that gives the strength to the technology. Otherwise, for now, it's like, well, a lot of people are here and say, yeah, well, why would I use Bitcoin? Oh yeah, but to fight inflation, to save your money, but the people are not aware of inflation. Not many people, maybe a little bit right now, but they don't care about that because they don't see it as a big problem. So why would they use it? It's not solving a problem. It's not making your life easier. Actually, my life is harder since I use crypto and Bitcoin. Signing the transactions, all stuff. It's not the easy way.
So what's the future for art on Bitcoin as you see it? How does art elevate Bitcoin, and how does Bitcoin elevate art?
Bitcoin elevates art by immutability, provenance. So saving, storing something, and not being scared that it's going to go up in flames or that the company that holds that information digitally is going to die. It gives the freedom to inscribe anything you want, any message without being censored. Which for me, it's a form of art too. And well, the other way, how does art incentivize Bitcoin? A lot of people don't agree on that. A lot of people actually think that it's a danger, at least when we talk about ordinals. Well, people think that it's a danger for the ecosystem, that it's a threat, that we are spamming.
Polluting the blockchain with random images or...
Which I understand too. Like, out of the 100 million inscriptions, how many of them are BRC20? How many of them are just random PNGs with no intent, no message, no meaning? So, for now, it doesn't feel like art on Bitcoin is really helping Bitcoin. Because, once again, it gives a bad image to the masses that do not have time or that do not want to spend enough time to really go deep into what's happening in here. And I understand. Like, I'm not expecting all these people to go to Magic Eden and to go beyond everything that you see on the front page. It's normal. So I don't think that it's helping for now, but it can if we manage to all get around the same vision and agreeing on the basics, parent-child, not scamming people, having real companies behind it, having real intent, having good concepts, having good intentions. It seems pretty basic, but the reality is that how many of us are doing that?
Well, in your opinion, who are some of the artists or perhaps some of the developers apart from yourself and Pierre who are doing really cool stuff?
No, I love Casey, what he's doing and what he's offered to the ecosystem. I love Life of FIFO, even if I never talk to him because he's just a super efficient builder. Like every time I'm amazed. I send his tweets to Pierre and say, bro, look at this guy. He built this in one day after the news, So super efficient and big admirer of his efficiency. It just seems like maybe, I don't know, I don't see what's his ultimate goal, to be honest, but I should ask him maybe. I love what Danny has done too. I love many artists. I love Lemon Haze. Why? Because for me he's the only success story of an independent artist on Bitcoin. I think that the other ones that people may think of successful are not, at least in my opinion, very successful because maybe they had to do things that they didn't want to do, some pressure. But Lemon Haze just seems like he has always done what he wanted to do, always staying true to his values and to his vision.
Yeah, I mean, and he's exactly the same in person as you would expect.
That's what I
He's a very
know
solid
about
guy.
him. I met him.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to spend a couple of days with him in Southeast Asia a few months back, and he knew that I was going to be there. And a mutual friend, Ordinally, actually reached out to him and told him that I was going to be there, and so he said, "Let's go."
Yeah.
And so we spent a few days hanging out with each other, and really enjoyed it. And that was during basically right before the drop of his Best Before collection.
Yeah.
And so we actually did some Twitter Spaces together during
Remember
that time. And it
with
was
the
good fun.
electricity cuts and
Oh,
stuff.
it was crazy. Yeah. We had all sorts of interesting things going on, but I mean that's how it goes.
Yeah, no,
you
it
know?
was great.
And
No,
I
he's
think
a
that
great guy.
yeah, he is. He's
great.
a lovely guy.
And you mentioned Ordinally, for me, same thing. Like
Brilliant guy.
he,
Absolutely
when
brilliant.
I see his stuff on chain from a technical point of view, well, he's a great dev. And the thing is, it's hard also for me to mention a lot of more people because I've been disappointed many times, putting my trust on some people and then being disappointed just because something changed and finally you realize that they weren't here for at least the same reasons. I mean, and but yeah, there are some great people. It's just that how many of them are putting their full effort into the ecosystem. Even us, like we have done this for 3 years, but the reality is that we are not going to do only this all of our lives. And we want to do other things with Pierrot.
Because it's a tough gig, right? Trying to survive on doing purely this right now would be virtually impossible.
You could, but yeah, I think that's when you need to start compromising on some of your values or vision. And I just don't want to do that. I don't want to release a collection just to fill in a gap and to adapt it to a market that doesn't want anything serious and just wants something super cheap to play with. And
I guess that's
what's
something.
the point?
I guess that's something that I really appreciate Vivid as well is that they don't just release something. They don't release a drop just to feel something. So it's very easy to get caught up in the bear market. Nothing's happening. I need to feel something. I need to, an adrenaline rush, some dopamine.
Yeah.
Let's do something just to.
And some people do it out of necessity too, I understand. But the reality is that I think that we all need to be honest. This is a tiny market. This is an emerging technology. And there are still a lot of things to work on. I don't think that anyone should go all in and put themselves in a situation where it's either I make money out of this ecosystem or I die of hunger. No. It'd be way better if you can just see it as a passion thing on the side at first at the beginning and then maybe, go full all in, or at least building a system, something, a structure that can sustain that. Because right now, that's not possible for many people.
But at least if you can't make a crust in this market, as we would say, you can come down here and live off Valencian oranges, right?
Valencian oranges, exactly.
Very cool.
And that makes me think also about the strength. Like that's where Pierrot and I have always been thinking about that. It's like, okay, let's not go crazy. Let's not hire a lot of people. Let's not start spending a lot of this money into crazy stuff because we know that at one point it's going to change and we don't want to sacrifice that at that point. So let's think about it. And I think that was an edge for us to being always staying a small team, trying to do as many things as we can with our knowledge or learning about it. And that's been a huge experience for us. We've learned so many things. Learned to make content. I've started posting on social media. All this stuff. And I think that many people maybe don't think it that way. I don't know.
So you try to keep overheads low for a reason. Mm-hmm. But when Vivid does something, let's just take, for instance, the Vivid Artist Retreat in Rome. And there didn't seem like there was any expense spared on that. We had artists flying in from all over. Even collectors like myself were invited to that. Yeah. And we spent 6 days in Rome
Crazy
beautiful villa.
house, yeah.
You know, the food, the wine, the prosecco. That a lot was used for other purposes other than drinking. I think there was quite a few showers had in prosecco.
Yeah.
But it was such an
Insert.
amazing experience. There was such an amazing experience for so many of us to actually just come together as artists and collectors,
Yeah.
and to be able to talk with each other over multiple days, break bread, and just get to know each other as real people.
You know that we
Not
wanted
just
to spend more,
PFPs on a screen.
You know that we wanted to spend a lot more money into that retreat, man. And but at that point, the market was already slowing down. So we're like, okay, let's be more precautious because we're gonna need that money. But yeah, I don't know. We just wanted to do something special, and maybe that's our European style. You know, let's show our hospitality. Let's show what we have to offer. Let's have great dinners. Let's have great drinks. Let's leave a space for people to really connect. So yeah, no, we didn't spare money at the moment, and I don't regret it because for me, it's one of my best experiences in my life. Like really, it was great. It was amazing. What I would have loved to is maybe raising. We thought about it, raising some funds at some point and doing more about it. But then also you realize like we can't create a whole market by ourselves.
It's true.
Maybe if we got a lot of money, okay. But the reality is that we never do that, and I don't see how someone's gonna give you hundreds of millions to create that market. So we are always at the mercy of the market. And the market, we all build it together. And that's why, for me, it's so important to learn, to confront, to really, I don't know, evolving, because that's something that I just don't see sometimes in the market. Let's go. We are creating something crazy. Oh, let's go. We are all building this crazy thing. We don't know where it's going, and if we wanted to go somewhere and that's gonna stay relevant, well, we're gonna need to put a lot of effort into that. And that's why I can't stand the amount of scams or all this stuff, because it's like at one point we need to do something about that. How is it possible that this continue to happen? And it's true that less people are affected by that, but still, I don't know what's the solution for that, but I'm optimistic about more people rallying with this message and saying, yeah, let's go, you know, everything that we're going to do here, we're going to do it with purpose, and we're going to do it with meaning, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted to show with the Vivid Retreat.
So maybe we need the Vivid Lemon Haze On-Chain Monkey Retreat next.
Exactly.
And we get everybody to come together, and we pull our communities together, and everybody gets to spend a lovely weekend somewhere together.
Yeah, well, I don't know where that's going to bring us, but it just feels like everyone has to be more, how do you say, hard with themselves. Like, for example, it's tempting to mint the next pump and dump that everyone knows that's gonna work because you're trying to gambling, and I know it's fun, etc. But the reality is, by doing that, we're also kind of incentivizing these mechanics.
For sure.
So it's always about finding a compromise. What do we support, and at what percentage, with how much effort? Because when you think about it, like just think about the numbers. How much money, like how much revenue Vivid generated compared to some other means that I'm not going to mention. It's just a tiny portion. And it just feels like we have done a lot more things than some other projects that have raised a lot more revenue. So it's not that we cannot have fun from time to time, but it's a matter of the amount. Like how much energy goes to what kind of stuff, and I just hope that this is going to change somehow, and it's going to say, okay, well, the gambling part, it's a small part, but then we support and put money in
Reinvest back into the ecosystem instead of purely extracting and then moving on.
But doing also with expertise, and that's where we need good entrepreneurs, we need good visionaries, we need people with skill, because you can try to create something with the revenue that you're generating, but if you're not really creating value for the ecosystem, well, it's difficult. And then I just means that everyone has to do their part, but they also need to have the expertise. The reality is that Piero and I are a two-person team, and we do not have all the expertise in the world, so we are not going to change Bitcoin forever. But at our small scale, we can do what we said we were going to do with all the energy that we can put into that, which is, okay, we are creating a gallery. So what can we do? Maybe we can represent up to 10 artists. And we can work with them on the long run and release their collections. And we can build a small base of very solid and serious collectors. That's the promise. That, at least that's the first step. Then, once you reach that step, boom, you can create something bigger. But the reality is that there is so much money moving around this ecosystem, but what has been created? Some people may say, oh yeah, but you only created 3 collections. Yeah, but the reality is that compared with the revenue that we got, with the team that we have, we just deliver what we could deliver in the best way possible. And we're going to continue doing that. But if a project receives, I don't know, $10 million, $20 million, what are they going to do with that? Are they going to build something revolutionary? Because when someone raises 10 million, like a startup, usually they do a lot of things. They have a lot of responsibilities that they're going to deliver. A lot is expected. How is it that in this ecosystem it's not the way?
Because it's art, bro.
No, it's because many people just hide about the gambling and saying, oh yeah, this is what's going to happen, but the reality is that just a gambling. So yes, we put a lot of millions and millions into a casino, and the casino always win.
It seems to be the case, absolutely. So what's next for Vivid?
Only doing Vivid retreats.
Let's go. Well, actually, we have something planned for the coming weekend, right? So we've got some artists gathering here in Valencia.
Yeah.
So we're going to look forward to spending more time with Medusa. Mm-hmm. We're hoping to get Doc T and also CyberC to come in as well, and it's just a wonderful opportunity to get like-minded people together, to be able to relax, enjoy, and also there's always a little bit of strategy, and there's always a little bit of, I guess, It's hard to sort of put it into terms that doesn't seem like I'm being too emotional, but you actually do get very, very connected with these artists. I know I do, and I actually find a lot of joy in just sitting down with these people. And you don't have to tell me about what's coming. You don't have to show me about what's coming, but their enthusiasm just bubbles forward, and it's just hard not to be infected by their enthusiasm for their art. And also, I think that they feel the same way. Mm-hmm. They love when collectors really appreciate what they've done, and it's a wonderful exchange of emotion, gratitude. Yeah. And
they are great people.
They're great people.
I love them. Yeah. Well, what's next? I think that after these 3 years, this is the first time maybe where things have chilled a lot, and we can now reflect on, think about everything that has been done. That's a little bit how I feel right now, like trying to analyze, okay, what do we like about everything that we've done? What we don't like, what we could improve, what we will never do again.
What is something you would never do again?
never do again. I think that's gonna be giving energy and putting effort for people that don't value it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because it's super frustrating. And no, I've sometimes being disappointed by the reaction of some people, just but actually it's my fault. It's just that we didn't understood what these people wanted. So that's something that we already stopped doing, but we're never, like, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to fall into the Web3 trap again. Also, another thing that we won't be doing again is, maybe let's go there. Putting too much pressure on ourselves to get a quick result. It was so exhausting. Too much pressure, and I just felt like, oh yeah, if that doesn't work, it's over. Or also forcing myself to post every day just to post. I never really did that, but from time to time I was like, oh yeah, it'd be cool if I just post something. And it just feels like there is already so much information and people are living in the noise that I don't want to put more into that. I just want to, do good things, do things we're proud about it, and talk about them once we believe that there is some value for other one. Because otherwise I see that when I'm talking to people, they are maybe not going to value what I have to say, because they may think, oh, well, maybe it's just another fill in the gap presence. No, I want people to see us, okay, oh, Vivid is releasing a collection. Wow, I need to listen to that. Why? Because I know that Vivid is going to deliver something great. That's what I want people to think about it. And that's what we are doing right now. Okay, it has been 3 years. Let's talk about everything that we have done. Let's put in perspective all the Vivid collections to the market and say, wow, it's great. I believe that the words speak for itself. Of course, there are better collections than others. There are tasties and etc. But man, I just love seeing people collecting from time to time artworks in secondary when a lot of people are complaining that nothing's happening. It just seems like, wow, people are valuing this. Like we have the most visits on the Vivid website this month when we are not that active. It's just because we build a system that people can get onboarded to, and I also believe that there are a lot of collectors like you that saw that and that are also sharing this. And so yeah, that's what's next, at least in the short term. Continue giving visibility to our past work, because there aren't many new things that we could release right now that I'd be more proud of from what we have already released. So yeah, and in the long-term future, well, let's see where let's see where this ecosystem brings us. But I would love to, release some of the greatest collection and art I've ever been confronted to. Some artists have shown me great stuff that they are waiting to release the right moment, and I would love to release that and just saying, oh, this is what we put on the blockchain, this was us. And if in 20 years people start talking about art on Bitcoin, saying, oh man, look at what these guys did 20 years ago, and that'd be the best thing. Someone telling you, look at what these guys have done, man, it's crazy, they had the vision, and it's like, yeah, well, actually I was involved.
Well, hasn't that already happened? When you look at collections like Deus Ex Machina, or Machina, as people in Europe call it, Enigma by CyberSea, these collections that have tied in Bitcoin data to the artwork, that's already something that I feel is a wonderful use of the canvas.
Mm-hmm. It is, but it's not recognized by the mass, you know.
But that's still something to be extremely proud of.
And I am, for sure. And the artists that have done this work and trusted us in collaborating with them, I think that they should be extremely proud. It's just that now we need to give more time, and this is where the hard part starts. It's like I've done something cool, and now I need to share it and to talk about it and to keep writing people that understand it. I think that CyberC is doing that in a perfect way.
He's doing a great job of that.
Yeah.
But also, I think that continues to feed value back to the artists that you've already worked with, because continuing to just release another project, another collection, that's not really what you've ever wanted to do, is it? So
No,
I remember you
would you
saying,
like that as a collector? You know.
Definitely not.
So-
But that seemed to work very efficiently on Ethereum for some reason. But I remember talking to you a couple of years back about my thoughts of Vivid being almost the art blocks of BTC, and you instantly went, whoa, that's not what I want. And I actually have tried to reverse engineer how things are done and do the opposite to what art blocks did. So perhaps just tell us a little bit about that and the flaws that you saw happening on Ethereum.
Well, maybe it's our European mentality, but we are not in the US ultra productive way of looking at things. And for some things I do actually, like when I'm going to build another business that suits that vision, I'm going to do it that way. But for me, art, like for us, at least in Europe, like art is something sacred? No.
Sacred?
Sacred, yeah. And it's not something that you should mass produce. And even if I have huge respect for what Arblox did and amazing things, I just never saw myself creating something like this because I'm not selling socks. You know, I don't need to over.
Actually, I would love some Vivid socks. let me just tell you that.
But
I think actually I have some Pudgy Penguin socks on right now. Wait a minute.
you know,
Yeah.
Memeland,
Memeland. No, wait a minute.
Pudgy penguins. So it's funny, you know. But yeah, we never saw ourselves doing something like that because for us it felt too industrial, and I recognize the utility of doing something like that too because, well, suddenly you have big numbers and you have a lot of people interested and you have investors putting the money and. But yeah, it was more of a passion thing and just saying, okay, well, I have great stories, great memories about every release that we did. And I don't think that if we would have done 500 collections, I could feel the same. And I also don't think that I could share the same moments I'm sharing with you guys and we're sharing with the artists coming to my place, to going to another place, having these kind of dinners with a huge thing. So maybe it's a lack of, I don't know, lack of, not vision, but, you know, potential. Like you don't see the potential, or at least you are not taking it. But it just feels like this wasn't the right thing to do. And I also believe that it wouldn't have worked anyway. I don't think that...
It would have for a while.
Maybe, yeah.
But
we
it
could have
would've-
done a lot more money, released a lot more collections.
Perhaps burnt out.
Of course. But I wouldn't be proud of that.
No, you wouldn't. No.
And I know how it would have ended up too.
But going back to what you said about, you know, viewing art as something somewhat sacred, I remember actually, as an anecdote, when Haruto was sending me my physical sat, it got hung up in customs for about 3 months because Spain wouldn't release this piece of art in case it was a national treasure.
Of course.
So it was locked down basically, and then multiple emails and multiple letters had to go to say, no, look, it's a piece of digital art, it's a print of a digital piece.
It's worth zero.
Oh, come on. It's, but yeah, no, that was interesting because coming from Australia, the UK, perhaps America as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a piece of art. You just
Yeah.
send it. Nobody even thinks about it. Nobody looks twice at it.
It's a worthless piece of plastic.
Well, almost,
Yeah.
right? But Spain was really, really particular about making sure that this was allowed to leave the country.
Yeah.
And I found that very interesting. Somewhat annoying, but very interesting.
Yeah, the thing is, it's at the same time a strength and a weakness for us because, for example, a lot of people here, look, there is art everywhere.
It's great.
A lot of people are going to complain about, oh yeah, we are putting a lot of regulation in order to preserve our architecture stuff, but that's what Europe has to offer. It's history, it's culture. We are the old continent. So we're trying to preserve this, but at the same time, it stops us from maybe growing and having the best economy in the world. And at the end of the day, I don't live to work. I work to improve my living and to enjoy everything that life has to offer to us.
That's a nice way to keep your life in balance to some degree.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you don't enjoy anything that you've worked hard for anyway.
Yeah.
You don't allow yourself the time to stop, to appreciate that. Well, you're certainly surrounded by beautiful things here. You certainly are.
Yeah, that's. You know, I admire a lot of people from the US that are extremely good at creating systems and businesses that are cash machines. You're like, wow, but it just makes sense and revolutionizing the world. I have huge admiration for that. But at the same time, I also have huge admiration for a quiet and reasonable lifestyle here. It's like
Speaking about a quiet and reasonable lifestyle, this looks like a wonderful place to sit down and have a glass of your famous red wine.
Let's go have. I'll take a beer, because here in Spain we also drink beer. I don't know why these guys are amazed by Spanish wine when it's French wine. It's the best one. Come on.
No, don't let the French tell you that.